National Assembly amended the Constitution to empower the Commission to register political parties on the following grounds. 1. Breach of any of the requirements for registration as a political party. 2. Failure to win at least 25% of the votes cast in one state of the Federation in a presidential election, or 25% of the votes cast in one local government area of a state in a governorship election. And 3, failure to win at least one ward in a chairmanship election, one seat in the national or state assembly election, or one seat in a councillorship election. In order to implement the provision of the 4th alteration to the Constitution, the Commission carried out an assessment of political parties to determine compliance with the requirements for their registration. Similarly, following the conclusion of the 2019 general election, including court-ordered rerun elections arising from litigations, the Commission was able to determine the performance of political parties in the elections. In addition, they were also assessed on the basis of their performance in the area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory, which coincided with the 2019 general election. It should be noted that FCT is the only part of the country where INEC is empowered by the Constitution to conduct local government elections. Consequently, the Commission has determined that 16 political parties have fulfilled the requirements for existence based on Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Accordingly, 74 political parties are hereby deregistered. With this development, Nigeria now has 18 registered political parties.
Well, this morning, it's time for us to look at some issues that will definitely take center stage in the year ahead, which is an election year in itself. Peter Ame is former presidential candidate, Progressive People's Alliance, and is also former president in council, Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria between 2019 and 2020. He joins us virtually from Lokoja, as well as Austin Aigbe, who is Senior Program Officer, Center for Democracy and Development, Member Steering Committee, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room. Gentlemen, well, he joins us virtually also from Luanda. We hope to have our other guests join us shortly. But let me begin with you, Mr. Ame. Well, there is this news that I'm sure you are aware of already, and that's the fact that there are at least 100 political groups seeking registration with INEC. And first of all, let's begin from there. What's your assessment? What do you think of that? Is this something that should be done, or what's your assessment?
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. I think one of the basic problems that we have is the lack of necessary and adequate information to the public about what a political party is and what a political party function should be. And what the Constitution has said and clearly stated was that in Section 40, that every Nigerian shall have the right to belong to a trade union, an association, or a political party where his right and interest is protected. That is to say that political party participation should not be a restrictive process. And you also look at the fundamental, freedom of association right and freedom to have one's opinion. So you must be able to select that vehicle. For me, as somebody who has served at the level of Inter-Party Advisory Council, both as Secretary General and the President in Council, I believe that for us to be able to create an enabling environment for young people to grow, for young people to understand how politics, issues of political participation should be taken very seriously, we must continue to expand the political space by allowing more political parties to get registered. And if you have been in my shoe, and the advantage that multi-party democracy has given me, and the opportunity to hear my voice on Channels television today is the opportunity that I have in participating in this process. If you go to smaller countries like Benin Republic, they have over 100 political parties. South Africa, what we should do is rather concentrating on the symptoms, we should concentrate on the root cause of the issue. Because one of the effects of multi-party democracy is to expand the space. And one of the downside of what is making it not to grow, the greatest impediment to growth of multi-party democracy in Nigeria is lack of credible foundation for a free and fair election. And also the fact that our democratic election, as they call it, ranking, has not really been very structured to be able to protect the right of newly registered parties. Like the talk of the local government system.
Just to go, you said so many things.
I support more participation.
You support more parties coming on stream. That's what you're saying. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Well, anyway, because I was a little confused when you said that those who are asking for more, those who are asking for their political groups to be registered as political parties need to have more information. Oh, yeah, well, we'll come to you. I'm sure that we'll get back more information from you. Austin Aigbe is also in Luanda. Well, let me begin from there with you as well this morning. What's your assessment of that information put out, that 100+ political groups are vying to become political parties in Nigeria? You may want to unmute, Mr. Aigbe. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was mute.
All right.
Thank you. I said, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Nigerians, and thanks for having me. I said it's not the first time INEC will come up with those kind of comments regarding party registration, number of political parties wants to be registered, number of political groups wants to be registered. But usually, when they are registered, they never always meet the threshold. And when they don't meet the threshold, we are back to square one, where parties are deregistered. You saw the INEC chairman mention very categorically atomizing the criteria for deregistration of political parties. And one of them, he said, were unable to meet certain percentile in terms of representation, either at the councillorship level or at the House of Assembly level or at the national election, being able to meet 25% threshold of the general vote. That is the bane. That is the bane. We have argued that parties need to be institutionalized in Nigeria. I have no problem with registration of new parties, but you cannot put a threshold on their continuous existence. People have the right to organize at a political party level or a political organization and get registered and work their way over the next 20, 30 years before becoming offices. But where we have in Nigeria is that you register a political party today, next year is election. I mean, we're already in 2022, just a few days to 2022. We have about a year, 3, 4.
So for you, Mr. Aigbe, that's a problem. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Okay, let me introduce our studio guest, who's also in here with us. Victor Anilaju is a former member, Social Democratic Party, and he is also a former member, Labour Party, Action Congress, Fresh Party, and Alliance for New Nigeria. You've traveled quite a while. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's begin with that conversation as well. Your opening comments. More political parties, 101 more political parties. Good thing or bad thing?
Okay. It is good. It is good in one part of it, right? But I want us to look at why are people agitating to register political parties. That means there is something wrong somewhere. Because if you follow the history, you find out that every election here, there's an increase of demand for more persons or more groups to start up their own political parties. And most of these persons are people from an already existing political party, right? And that is one of the reasons why I am advocating that we have direct primary election. Because we find out that when people belong to a party and they are not pleased with the candidate, with the person that emerged as the candidate, they pull out to set up another political party. That is the basic reason why we are having more political parties. The current APC you know today, it's a breakout from PDP. Immediately they got their candidates. Some persons were not pleased. What did they do? They have to pull out and start up their own party. Go to every other persons or group that is agitating to start up a party. You will find that they are members of an already existing party. So we need to address the issue. Why are people leaving already existing political party to set up their own new party? And I feel that is what the direct primary was going to address.
You think that direct primary is a panacea to that problem?
Yes, because when a candidate understands that I am not your candidate because the people did not vote for me, not because of a godfather.
Okay. Well, there are so many things to unpack in this conversation that we have started, but we need to take a short break now for a message or two, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
There is a historic moment, and Nigeria are Olympic champions.
The eagle has long been symbolic of the unity that ties all diverse strands of Nigerian greatness together. With unprecedented access and clarity, the eye of the eagle goes behind the scenes of federal and subnational government in Nigeria. From the corridors of power where cross-sectoral policy in Africa's largest economy is formed, we travel into cities and rural communities nationwide where we bring policy actors to the grassroots to account for their tenures, all while engaging with citizens who express their unfiltered views on policy implementation. Join me, Ajuri Ngelale, to see that which has long been hidden, exclusively on Channels Television.
Almost 365 days of working hard and doing your best. Where we come from, it's Mummy, not Santa, who decides if you've been naughty or good. But staying on the good list sometimes means letting nice things go. And aiming for what you deserve can mean saying no to what you want. But as the season of merriment and goodness dawns on us, now is the time to pat yourself on the back, relax, and catch some cruise. Feasting. Give a little pass. Together, we can make it happen. Season's greetings from all of us at Keystone Bank.
Grab your special Chivita and Hollandia Christmas packs today. Available while stocks last.
Hello, what is it? You know, what's the Christmas? You know that one? No, I present it. What do you do?
Christmas is all about giving. And putting smiles on people's faces, even though the times are rough. We try to make it merry for you and your family through our bounteous offers this Christmas. Turn up the cheer with the Revolution Plus KDK Christmas promo. Get massive gifts when you subscribe to any of our landed properties. Pay between 50,000 to 500,000 naira, 1 million to 5 million naira. Promo valid from 15th November 2021 till 15th January 2022. Terms and conditions apply.
Revolution Plus Property. Affordable housing.
Thanks for staying with us. Let me come back to you, Mr. Ahmed. Given the opinion of Mr. Anilaju here as to exploring the reasons for which many people are asking to register new political parties. And you said earlier that there is perhaps a need for people to get more information about what it means to register a political party before they venture into it. Do you think that information is missing? I mean, you heard him say here that most of the people who ask for these new political parties are erstwhile members of other existing political parties.
I think people should be using every flimsy excuse or every disagreement in a party to decamp to another party. Because that has also been a bane of our party is not growing organically. When any small misunderstanding within the party, people just move to another party. I've been a member of the PPA since it was formed by our former leader, the leader of the party then, Senator Ojis Okalo. I've been a member of the PPA from 2006 till date. And I started as a ward secretary, and followed the ranks to become the national chairman of the party. So the fact is that you must be able to allow the party to grow organically. There are certain information that INEC is putting out there that are actually not correct. When they talk about logistics, they talk about cost, look, the only cost that more political party have to the ballot is the cost of printing a longer sheet. But the cost of transportation, the cost of movement, the number of people, the number of ballot papers to be printed are the constant variables. When you look at the fact that the number of registered voters, based on the law about the land, that if you are printing ballot papers, you will print the numbers of registered voters. If you have 18 million registered voters, it's 18 million voter paper you will print. So for political parties should not just be made as vehicles for winning elections, as vehicles for coming to power. They should be made as vehicles to educate, to undertake certain function in the society, like even putting governments in check and then work their way and plan their way to grow. The problem we have in the parties not growing as fast as they should be. If you look at the South African local government election, and I will talk more about that because they are one of the best local government elections in Africa, and this allows people to participate. The other chairman was talking about the criteria for the registering political party. He talked about the area council election and the council. Area council election is not part of the local government in Nigeria. Section 225A is clear that you must either win a local government chairman or a councillor. And if you look at the judgment of 2002, Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of Abia State and 350 others, it clearly states that the area councils are not the same as local government in Nigeria. And then when INEC was carrying out this the registration, INEC refused to allow local government elections to be conducted across Nigeria. These are one of the things we have that we must put this information out and allow people to have participation.
Where you are, Mr. Ahmed, just 1 second. From where you are, what's the difference between area council and local government elections?
No, it's the Constitution. The Constitution states that Section 7, subsection 1, said that there should be democratically elected local government chairmen and councillors across Nigeria. And the area council is not part of it. It's not captured as local government in Nigeria. It's not. We must clear it. There's not about difference. There are nomenclatures we know, but when we work by the ground laws of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We cannot create our own laws, except if it's created by the National Assembly and accepted by the President, and then our amendment becomes a reality. But what the Constitution states, even with Supreme Court judgment that I have mentioned, 2002, Attorney General of the Federation versus Attorney General of Abia State and 350 others, it is stated that they are not the same thing, and you can never make them the same. That is why we are saying that we must be able to have a proper structure for the conduct of local government elections. That these parties, if you have a free, fair local government election that is not in the hands of the governors, that the state assembly do not help to make manipulative laws to keep them under lock and keys, and where you see that you can predict the outcome of every local government election in Nigeria, like any local government election they want to do, just be assured that 99.9% will be going to the ruling party in the state, and the 1% that will go maybe to other or maybe castle vote on how they call it, on irregular vote, and the rest will go to maybe a party that is a friend that they want to use as how they call it, for the principle of how they call it, selective generosity. So these are the things they're doing in the state.
Well, there's still a lot to say. So let me take this to Mr. Igbe now. Mr. Igbe, you have also hinted at the fact that while democracy is growing in years, in quality, there are questions. And that's perhaps why you also think expanding the political space is a good thing. And one way to do it is this political party registration. Don't forget that 74 political parties were deregistered by INEC. You know, I think it was in 2020. And just now we have 18 political parties. Now 100 more are applying to, become political parties, and it is being considered by INEC because that is what the law says. Do you think that will in any way help to develop the political space, not just to expand it?
I was specific with my choice of words. I believe you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. I was specific with my choice of words. I said categorically that there is nothing wrong with new party registration. However, it is not helping to grow the space. It is not helping to consolidate on the space. It is not helping to institutionalize political party participation. It is not helping to advance the political party and political education, in quote. My colleague on the studio talked about direct primaries, which is very valid. That point is very valid. Apparently, he also may have gotten angry with those parties. That's why he had to leave all of the parties mentioned when we were introducing him. So the political party system in Nigeria is so weak. And is impacting on our democracy. Political party weakness is weakening our democratic consolidation. I have no problem with having 1,000 political parties, but all of these parties cannot be on the ballot paper. Contrary to what Chief Peter may say, you cannot have 93 political parties on the ballot paper. No way. All we need to do, party must earn their place on the ballot. Parties must get to a threshold that they are placed on the ballot. That's what happens in developed democracies. That's what enhances democracies. And one way to strengthen party is to ensure that every member of the party participate in the choice of the candidate. And that is what the Electoral Act 2021 aimed to achieve. That is being just thrown out on just like that, when it is supposed to improve our democratic architecture. So the thing about democracy is that for us to build our democracy, we must build our parties. Because right now we don't have independent candidacy where any individual can wake up in the morning. In any case, in the Nigerian landscape, in the Nigerian culture, it is almost like for an independent candidate will be very difficult. It will almost be like easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for an independent candidate to win an election in this country. It is there. We've seen it. If you understand political party registration, political party, internal party democracy is the weakest of all, where a few individuals come together in one small room to pick up a candidate. If other members do not like the candidate, they decamp. And when they decamp, you put pressure. For example, we have had smaller parties in past, in courts.
That again,
you don't have to use codes.
Well, that again underscores something that you said earlier, Mr. Igbe, which is the fact that, or was it Mr. Ameda was talking about it, which is the fact that there is need for more education for political actors in the country. Let me ask Mr. Adelaju, is there a space, in your opinion, is there a place for political education for those who want to get into the political space? Because if one is to go by what Mr. Ahmed said earlier, the getting information about what it means to be in a political party is very, very important if you're going to, participate creditably and productively.
So this is my take, right? I think our governments need to start thinking on how we can start electoral education from our secondary schools, right? where young Nigerians are taught about politics and governance and the citizen rights. Because don't forget, what we are talking about here is not just about political party. It is actually our responsibility as citizens of Nigeria to choose our leaders, which is the most important thing. You may not determine who give birth to you, but you can determine who leads you. And this is where we have the ticket to determine who becomes our leader. It is very important. In fact, it's the lifeline to every economy. So we need to go back to even primary schools. We should start teaching voters education so that our young Nigerians will be aware of what is the responsibility of you as a citizen first, the responsibility as a party, and the responsibility of INEC. I will bring this issue to the problem. You know, in Nigeria, we just try to solve problems from the surface. And I don't belong to that school of thought. I don't belong to that generation. I belong to a generation that provides solution. There is a reason why we are getting many organizations or groups agitating to have their own political party. Why don't we address those reasons? Number one, they are not pleased, they are dissatisfied with the current trend of political party, especially that issue of the direct and indirect primaries.
But you've talked about that quite copiously, but is that the only reason why people jump on?
No, that is...
What's your experience, for instance?
Okay, this is my own experience. I just told you 50% of the reasons why you can go through my history, you find out that I've left like 3 other parties was because of candidacy. Because I actually belong to parties based on candidates. I could give you my antecedent from OBJ's time, which is 1999. That was my first time of voting. That was PDP. Then we later left to Fresh Party when Reverend Chris Okote came on board. That was to tell you that it is always about the candidates, right? Then later we went back to PDP for good luck. Later we left PDP. I became a consultant to APC for Buhari 2015. You understand that 2019, I joined ANN to support Fela Durotoye, right? So you find out that move was always about the candidates, right? And at any time people get displeased about the candidates, that is what you will see that is going to happen.
You talked the other time about the need for. I'm sure we can still take this to the other guests. But you talked about the fact that you've moved from party to party because of candidates. Where then is the place of the political philosophy of each political party? Because the Constitution does not recognize the candidate. The Constitution recognizes the party. The INEC law, the Electoral Act recognizes the political party. So there is a question of, shouldn't it be the political ideology of that party that would motivate someone to join as opposed to just the candidate? Well, the candidate is important, but the place of the philosophy of that political party is crucial.
So you find out that what we want to get is the right leader. Because when you have the right leader, every other thing follows. We have some political party that will tell you that this is our manifesto, this is what we believe in. But they do different things. You understand? So a lot of people in Nigeria as of today, we are more focused on the candidates. Because we are not just working as a party, we are working as a people who want to bring solution to the challenges that Nigerians are facing day to day. Okay. So that's actually the main goal. Okay. The goal is not just about the candidate. The main goal is to get a candidate like myself that can bring solutions to our general problem, whether you are a party member or not.
Well, there are still because a lot of questions are as to whether or not that is a good way to go. I mean, it depends on who is looking at it. But my colleague Markwe has questions for you, gentlemen. Markwe?
Indeed. So I would like to start with Mr. Aigbe in Luanda to find out what are the criteria he thinks that political parties need to meet for them to be on the ballot.
Thanks. I was expecting a question because I tried to look at what what happened elsewhere. For example, I'm afraid to use this example, but it's almost like the best example, how the US model run. We have the United States. Many people know just two political parties in the United States. Unknown to them, unknown to many Nigerians, the national election is my focus. I am of the opinion that parties can be strong at the local level, contest election at the local level, win local government elections. For example, there are a lot, I've had this conversation with Chief Peter Ame, that if Chief can concentrate in one local government, win an election, and then build up the party to the state level, and before going to national level. But the argument, I quite agree with him from the position he stands from, that there are no more local government elections, there are local government elections. So until we have a structured process, before a party, a national party, I have a problem with the constitutionality of registration of political parties, where parties are meant to be national outlook. You need to have you need to have officials across the state. You have to have offices across the state. No way, we cannot sustain that, and that is why people are trying to camouflage their party. They look for names from everywhere across the federation, and they put them on the list. If any due diligence, none of those parties will be registered. I am looking at the national level participation in terms of ballot. For parties to be on the ballot, they must have some level of representation, maybe like the 25% domiciled in the constitution that INEC chairman they reference to, but not to deregister political parties. It should be a process, like in the US, you need to meet that threshold to end yourself on the ballot. We've had many parties, even the Green Party, trying to end yourself on the ballot in the United States. It never worked because they did not have the coverage of the states of the United States. That is what we need to get to. We need to build systems. And like I just also had, and one way to ensure that system being built is also look at your party representation across the state, not necessarily on elected representation. If we use elected representation to deregister parties, you are going to have parties coming up every year in, year out, want to get registered, and if you refuse to register them, they go to court. The court will ask you to register them. By the time they don't meet the threshold, you deregister them, and then after 2 years, they come back again with change name. That's going to be what will happen, because we've seen it happen already. It is not the first time. We must change that philosophy, and at the national level, we cannot have 73 political parties at the presidential level to be on the ballot. No way. No way.
Okay, let me ask Chief Peter Ame, would you really quarrel with that? Yes, indeed, he's granted. I mean, Mr. Aigbe has argued and accepted with you that indeed in many states, local government elections have ceased to exist. What you have oftentimes caretaker committees, and even where there are elections or semblance of elections, we see that the political party leading at the state level takes it all. So we can understand, but one would think that the pressure should start from there to be able to pressure the local authorities to be able to do something about that. Why is it so difficult to change the tide?
Thank you very much, Michael, for this question. The issue is that you can't change the time. The state assembly, when this law was being made to, law governing the administration of local government election like the state for the state, there was this provision that was put that the state assembly we make laws, for the local government, how they call it, elections. And in that law, the state assembly have overstepped their bounds. What they now do is to amend law every time that they feel that the party is not strong to win an election. I can give you an example in Anambra State. Since 2007, there have been 2 governors that are going. The second one is going out now. There have never been any local government election in Anambra State. Never, not one. So you're talking about access to ballot. You're not looking at the issues. When you are outside, it's easier to say a lot of speak English that will look as if the things are not done right. But when you are inside, you see that there's a huge shortcoming for you to continue to talk about access to ballot. You cannot speak to access to ballot. The election that people are contesting and winning is state assembly and an election conducted by INEC, because our elections are getting fairer. But the issue that you talk about, the local government election is the greatest electoral fraud foisted on our democratic process. And for us to get it right, everybody, the civil society must concentrate on that, and they're concentrating on the wrong thing. The registration of political party is not in line with democratic practice anywhere in the world. I've heard former military head of state of this country tell me in a meeting that they have been to countries that have more political parties than us, and they are working well. You cannot restrict people from participating. I want to be able to correct our brother there. Because INEC is disobeying court order, doesn't mean that there are 18 political parties. And I challenge every of our journalists to go to the court and get the court document that we have. There's youth party who won from High Court to Court of Appeal. INEC have not obeyed that court order. There's 22 parties that have won. You know, it doesn't make that there are 18 parties. Yes, there are 18 parties as pronounced by INEC due to disobedience of court order, but there are 41 parties as pronounced by the court. So what we are saying is that if we must get it right, if we must put people right and say, look, let's do access to ballot, let's expand the political space, let's allow more young people to come into the system. I must correct the direct primaries and indirect primaries stories that have been put out there. For our party internal mechanism to work, direct primaries will not solve the problem. If our direct primaries put more burden on popular candidates without financial strength, to now have issues of trying to go from 8,000 something plus what if they want to run for president to become primary. That means it is election within the election.
Chief Ahmed, the issues, one of the issues.
You need to allow me to just finish this direct primary. Let me give this more education. Direct primaries, the problem with the direct primaries that they are running away from is that the delegates who are selected will go to a county one hotel room and then go and vote for one candidate of their choice based on the money that has been paid. If you want to solve the problem within direct primaries, you will make it direct primaries and put a provision that any party that is going to choose in direct primaries, they must work in line with option A4. And any party that is going to, you are talking about direct primaries, there's no any guidelines for the conduct of direct primaries. So
well, that's another conversation altogether, Chief Ahmed, and I'm pretty sure that we'll get there one of these days. Well, let's draw some conclusions right now. Mr. Anilaju, quickly, expanding the political space and developing the political space sounds like two different things. But let's speak from the young people's perspective. What should the young ones do now to make a significant input into our political discourse in the year ahead?
Okay, so we are looking at the solution here.
Yeah.
I want to advise and encourage young Nigerians. There is no need for us beating around the bush. We know two major political parties that will definitely produce the next president and 90% of the next governors, 90% of the next senators and House of Assembly member. I want to advise every one of you, join either of these two political parties. That is the way forward. Let us come together into one of these political parties and make our voice loud. Okay. If we have to register 101 more political party, we will just be dividing our strength. If we are going for PDP, let us move into PDP. If we are going for APC, let us move into APC. But
sounds like you're already competing for one of them.
We need to take over one particular political party so that we can get the actual result we want to get come 2023.
All right. Mr. Ahmed, your last words on this, especially to young people.
To young people, what I say is that you must be able to join the political system, join any party of your choice that your right and interest is protected. And I disagree with your guest in the studio. For discrimination against registered political party in Nigeria and in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic. You cannot say to young Nigerians, I joined the political party in my 20s. And I performed and I've served in several capacities in this country. Because of the opportunity that multi-party democracy provides. I've met people, Dr. Paswa, Dr. Isa Tanko,
well, Chief Ahmed, you are already going into some other tangent, and I think you have made a significant point. You have already made a significant point to young people. Join any political party of your choice. Well, Mr. Aigbe, what will be your last word, especially to young people, as we go into the election year 2022?
Yes, I think young people need to organize, and stop organizing. I need to organize and bring up more people. I know that the major challenge with political parties are usually with the top two. The lesser political party have good internal party democracy, very strong one. However, I don't know that the time in power they will also change. young people need to organize and vote, get registered now. Go to the INEC office and demand your PVC. That is the way to change leadership. It may not have to be the party in power. It may have to be the major opposition. Organize and show your PVCs in your hand. In 2023, you show up your PVC and make your voice and your vote count. The time now is to start.
Thank you.
And the time has started running.
I have to thank you very much, gentlemen, for this, for being a part of this program today. Austin Aigbe is Senior Program Officer, Center for Democracy and Development, and his member steering committee, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room. He joined us virtually with Peter Amen, who is former presidential candidate, Progressive People's Alliance, and is also former president in council, Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, as well as Victor Anilajo, who is a former member of a good number of political parties, including SDP, Labour Party, Action Congress, Fresh Party, and Alliance for New Nigeria. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this morning.